Okay. Gonna see if that works. Pop out the chat with that as well too. Just gonna test to make sure that I can actually hear stuff right now. That my okay, looks like we have audio. Great, perfect. All right. So I guess we'll get started then. And just see how things go. So, for those who may not know who I am Sapphire Draws, and basically I started this channel to do animation in the first place, but what ended up happening was I ran out of time consistently all the time, so now I normally do drawings. I dabble in animation from time to time, but if you take a gander at through the videos I already have, you know, there's nothing special or anything to write home about. I figured though doing these art streams would help me not only just, sorry about the mouse, would help me get more of like a thought process down. People could like interact in real time, tell me, oh hey, that looks funny, maybe you should change it, or what if you tried styles like this, and I figured that live feedback would be really helpful. And I also figured that it would force me to set aside time to actually like work on animations and drawings and stuff like that. Not that I don't try and set aside time in the first place, but sometimes I have a hard time sticking to a schedule, so hopefully things like this would help me. So anyway, I had this idea for a sketch in mind, as we can zoom in up here, and I would like to just go over it a bit more. It's of two characters in a comic that I have in my DeviantArt. DeviantArt is Sapphire Draws. And the tall one right here, this one, that's Hemera, and she is apathetic to everything. And then we have a little ray of positivity here, everyone's favorite completely normal human being, who I don't think I revealed her name yet, but it's Daleth. So we're gonna draw these two and see where we go, and if you're just joining or whatever, feel free to jump on in and chat, type stuff in the chat. You know, ASCII image art is always appreciated. Alright, so let's see. I believe I have them on a new layer, so we're gonna start a new one. And then typically to sketch with, I do prefer red, darker red, something like that. I don't know, it makes me feel like I don't have to erase or make every line perfect. Typically, I do have a rough sketch in the top corner right here. However, I always tend to do more of a rough sketch too. When I get to it, they're kind of looking up, so I'm going to draw in some of my guidelines there. Alright. Another reason I wanted to do some streams like this is just because I don't tend to show my sketching, like actual sketching, when I'm working on a piece in a speed draw or anything like that. And if I'm doing something wrong with my sketching, the entire thing's going to turn out terrible. So I figured a good way to find out if I'm doing something wrong here is have people comment on it directly. She's just kind of lackadaisical. She's not having any of this, so her shoulders are down. Clavicle right there. And I am in no way good at anatomy, but I can tell you I've gotten a lot better at sketching human forms over the years. It just takes a lot of practice, and I still have a lot of practice to go. We can always improve. Always, always, always. Let's see. So her body's kind of going that way kind of direction. Adding in some guidelines. If I pull that up a bit so I can see what I'm working on down here, even though I'm just going to slide it right back down anyway. There we go. Alright, at the bottom of the rib cage in. I always like to add that in just so I know where the waistline is, and typically, even as I said, I'm going to move this entire thing down, so I'm not going to see it in the first place, but it just helps me make sure everything is in place, that the chest is of proper dimensions, because rib cages can be tricky little things. Alright, sometimes I even sketch out the pec muscles just so I know where everything lies, but typically my guideline falls where the pec muscle is in the first place. Alright, so we got a little dip there, the joint where the clavicle meets back here at the humerus and the scapula. So there's a little like bump right before the shoulder actually comes through. Some nice circles to round out the shoulder. And she is kind of just meh about the whole thing. Elbows typically fall at the line of the bottom of the rib cage right there. So we'll add those in right there. Sometimes half of the battle and problem of drawing more than what you're actually going to use is then going like, oh darn, I liked how that arm turned out, oh man, I wish I had that in the picture, and then realizing you can't have it in the picture. And now I know I do this incorrectly, but I like to sketch out the muscles as I'm doing this. There we go. So that's going back to the triceps here. The deltoid muscle is right there. The bicep is in front. And that's the little notch in your elbow where the biceps muscle kind of connects through and puts it out, just like that. I like my women like I like my men, muscular, so they tend to be on the muscular side when I draw them. There we go, and a little curve for the bicep, little notch down there. Should I be drawing it like that? Probably not. I should stick to more simple figures, but it's just how I got used to doing this over time. Let's concentrate on the face then, see what we got. Now she kind of has some very specific looking eyes when I do draw them. So I'm just going to sketch out some ovals first. Add in her nose. I'm not the best at differentiating noses, and I am well aware of that. It's just because noses in my style tend to mostly just be straight lines. I do try and mix it up. I try and make noses more pointy, or sometimes give them like a little bridge into the noses and stuff like that. Or like with Hemera, I try and make it have more of like a rounded bottom right here. Just like that. Draw a guideline across. Alright, and now the mouth and eyebrows, which are some of the most expressive parts of a face. Okay, so I kind of want the mouth. Go in there like that. And forgive me if I fall silent with this, sometimes I look at my own mouth to see how it falls. I don't want it as closed, I don't think. That's something I can decide when I go over details a little bit later, I guess. Alright. So her eyebrows are kind of a little bit depressed, more of a flat feature. Something like that. She's not angry, she's just kind of annoyed. That's how her general facial positioning is in the first place. Alright, I do tend to give her a little bit on the thicker edge eyebrows, so I'm gonna just block those in. So we have something like that. Okay. And almost forgot to block in a place for the ear. And ears start at the middle of the eye right there and should travel down, you know, guidelines permitting, to where the bottom of the nose is, for them to be proportional to the face. And ears kind of had like a backward Y thing going on inside of them. Any tips for drawing ears you guys might have, I'd be open to hearing them. And that's not a pun on the fact that they're ears. Alright. Jotting in where the hairline is. Okay. Give her a bit of a rounded facial appearance. Do like add in her bangs. As you can see, when I'm doing hair, I just throw caution to the wind. Her hair looks ridiculous because she's got these really long bangs on the side and then short hair in the back. Why is it like that? Because young high school me, it's kind of weird and thought it looked cool, and I've never bothered to change it. That's why. Sometimes design things like that don't have to make sense. Forgot one very important element on her. Sitting on the peck itself. There we go. That should be all I need for her. Don't actually bring her down a little bit where I want her to sit. This is also the time where I'm like, I made her shoulders maybe a bit too wide. Just gonna grab that and we can narrow it up. Just a tad. Just a tad. There. That's probably more how I normally draw her. Alright. So I'm probably going to go over her. I'm actually going to decrease the opacity of that layer then as well. And go back over her again. less of an opacity brush there, just so that we can get that hammered out, more fine details in, and her sketch should be just about done at that point. Okay. Because she is a female, I do tend to give her more of a rounded face. Feel free to answer anytime, but how's the weather where you guys are? It's currently winter when I'm recording this, and it's winter in the northern part of the United States, which is generally considered cold. I currently have my outside jacket on inside the house. Don't like how that lip turned out. It's the beauty of the erasure tool. That looks more her style. Okay. Now when I'm drawing eyes, I typically start with the eye that's not going to be covered by my hand when I'm working on it later, so I'm right-handed, so I wouldn't start with this eye, otherwise I'm going to cover it up when I try and work on the left eye. So start with this one. Like I said, I have a very specific way of just drawing her eyes. And the beauty of this is, because it's still a sketch, you can go back and change it however many times you need to. Alright. Alright. Yeah, that still looks like her. I'll bring the creases down just a little bit further to really emphasize that she's just not in a mood. Not in a good mood right now. Okay. Sometimes angles like that are hard to work with, and I get it, I understand. I still have trouble working with them, and I don't think I'll ever be fully comfortable. One thing that always worries me about drawing her with short hair like that is that it might look like a goatee at certain angles if it brushes against her face. So I'm always kind of wary about doing that. But it's where the hair would fall, so unless there's a constant breeze around her, I need to keep it internally consistent. Oop, I forgot I wasn't drawing her with her normal workout clothes on. I'm just so used to drawing her in that because of where it is in the comic right now. She's not wearing workout clothes. She's got this, I believe it's called a boat neck top. I'm not sure. I'm not a fashionista. That's like a really wide square cut top. Why would I choose something like that? I have a few myself. They're comfortable. Half the reason anybody's wearing anything in these comics is because I own an article of clothing like that. And honestly, if you're looking for help with how clothes flow, I don't know if I'm going to be much help with that either. I have so much trouble with it. Just get this other arm blocked in there. Okay. Well, we still have some wiggle room. Right there. There we go. That looks better at the very least. Okay. Oh, thank you, Silver Dust. Oh my gosh, someone actually commented on this. Hi, welcome to the stream. Thank you for your comment, by the way. Just something I wanted to doodle out here and get, live feedback on from other people. If you have any comments on it, that'd be wonderful. Hopefully my commentary is not too boring. Bring up the original sketch that I had planned for them. So she's going to be looking that way. One thing I've always had trouble with, though, is like getting pupil placement correctly. As you can see, they're a little off of center. There we go. Let's see if that looks all even. Okay, yeah. I think that's a good apathetic look. Hopefully. I wouldn't know. Okay. So I think we're done sketching Hemera, who's the girl right now. That way I can work on the... can clear that layer. That way we can work on the girl who's showering her with positivity. I'm going to put that in the layer over there. And I'm going to move to a new sketch color. Oh, thank you. I wouldn't really necessarily call my style realistic, but I'm glad it turns out looking a little like that. I've been trying to draw more of that. Yeah, people who can draw just like realism in cartoons, I admire them so much, and I do look up to a lot of people like that. Do you know, like, Ponder Sprocket? Like, her drawings have inspired me a lot to just progress with the style I have right now and hopefully try and make it my own one day. uh, Nothing wrong with a cartoony art style, though. Especially if it's, like, super stylized, like, almost like spray paint drawings that you see on the sides of old buildings and stuff. The graffiti artists have a touch to them, you know. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. uh, Sometimes keyboards get overexcited for you. Um, I've noticed it a few times. I don't really actually know, but let's see. The art program, it is, I always get this wrong, SketchClub app, I believe it's called. Let's see if it says it up here. No. Yeah, SketchClub. It's an app for the iPad and iPhone, I believe. I don't know if it works on Android programming. If I recall, it was about $5, and I got it because it had one transparent layers to it, which is great. And it was a lot cheaper than buying Photoshop for iPad, so yeah, I'm a little bit of a cheapskate. Not that I have a lot of money to be throwing around anyway, so it's a program that has a little bit of a learning curve to it. Were you looking at getting into more digital art too then as well, Silver Dust? Um, Either on the iPad, iPhone, on regular computer? Oh, I'm sorry to hear about your iPad though. They're pretty useful with a stylus. Is your new laptop kind of like a combination laptop where you can like use a stylus on the screen, or is it just standard old laptop? Oh, fantastic. Yeah, that actually might work in lieu of not having an iPad. I'd test out if a stylus works on it. And the best thing about a laptop with a touchscreen like that is sometimes styluses come with like quick point keys on them, so you can like have an undo button in easy place. Unlike in this app where I have to go all the way up to the corner, and it takes some getting used to. That's great. Also, happy early birthday. That's fantastic. If it's not too personal, do you draw a lot? Do you have like a deviant art? What sort of things do you like to draw? Oh yeah, Vivzy Pop. Hard name to say. Yeah, I've heard of her and her animation series. Oh, so you want to get like super stylized? Yeah, her cartoon style is so hard to replicate properly, but man, does it look good when she draws it. All you have is YouTube. Okay, I see. It's a little bit harder to get like a foothold in YouTube, I think. Just because just creators can get swept under the rug so easily, especially with animation and all the time it takes to like draw out all the frames. Even if you have animating software, it just takes forever to get videos out sometimes. I think it's great that you're starting off with drawing OCs and everything though as well too, especially if you have some story ideas in mind. It's that's the hardest thing. You always need a story idea in mind, and then the characters kind of fall into place. Okay. Well, dreams are just dreams until you make them a reality. Yes.
Who are you talking to?
Streaming right now. You're on, just to let you know.
Oh. Do you have a USB port that fits this?
What in the world?
And if not, what do I need to order?
It's not an SD card, is it?
No. It said to plug it into your USB port to charge it up.
I suppose it would work with any normal USB port then. That looks like a USB.
I put it into my computer, but nothing seems to be happening. Maybe I need to leave it in longer.
Maybe. Sometimes when they get really old like that, like the ends will get like a little bit like frayed and stuff, USBs don't work forever. So if it's old enough, it might not work anymore.
That's right.
Okay. Oh, don't be sorry for talking too much. It's good that you have a dream. Okay, I'll see you in a little bit then. For when you do get back, and if you do go over this footage, it's good that you do have that dream about wanting to start animation stuff, and it's really hard. I got in that rut, especially back in middle school. I was like, as soon as I get like Flash, as soon as I get something like that, I'll be able to make animation, I'll be able to do something with it. And the hardest thing was just to start, even without the proper tools. And I'm in no way good at animation at all. And it's still really cruddy animation to this day, but it's still something, and it might not be where I wanted it to be when I was young, but I just had to take that first step and say, hey, I need to start this because this is what I want to do. And granted, it's harder, but it's something. It's something. Dreams are only dreams until we make them a reality. Or something Keanu Reeves says. And I don't normally struggle with hands this much, but guess that's another big thing too. Just kind of musing to myself now, I guess. I'm kind of used to talking to myself, but especially for any young, aspiring person out there who's like, ah, man, I really want to get into animation and get into this work like that. It's great to find people you aspire to be like Vipsy Pop. She puts a lot of work into her animation. So many in between frames. It's beautiful to look at. And if that style of animation, that smoothness is something you really want, go for it. Use her as a reference when you're starting out creating, sketching characters and ideas like that. It's always good to have a person you can look up to and just say, this is my reference. So, that's the other thing though. I don't know if I can offer up much in the way of character designing because everyone kind of has their own way of going about it. Some people like to start with a silhouette and go from there. Some people like to start with like a clear idea in mind. Some people have an idea of who they want the character to be already. The only tip I can really give is just be open. Be open about everything. Like if you sketch a character and you're like, oh, I kind of actually liked him with longer hair or something like that, go with it. Your character is not set in stone until you want it to be. And even some of my oldest characters, things I've made up in middle school, I've been through so many design changes with them, and I still don't really have them in a place where I'm like, yeah, this is who they are yet. So just kind of gotta keep working on it little by little. Her hair is bunching up right there because it's leaning against her shoulder. And I've drawn her with kind of a wide face right here, but she does actually have kind of a thinner face, so I'm going to try and accentuate that in this second sketch layer. Thin, small face. Ah, folds in the clothes. Always so hard to draw. Uh, Trying to make her fingers a bit thinner right now as well too. Whoop. Gotta plug in my computer. And you might start to hear the fan. Computer does that when it's running low on battery and starting to charge. And there it goes, taking off into hyperspace. Alright. Hands are sometimes the hardest thing to draw. They're so expressive, but so deceptively evil. Easy to draw sometimes. Ugh, must be getting late. Can't talk anymore. Sorry for all the spastic zooming in and out. I don't want to give anybody motion sickness, but I tend to do that when I draw, because I have not mastered the art of moving my iPad instead of moving myself. Oop. Got on pixels instead of pen. There we go. Positivity. and the changes to her clothing right there. So it doesn't look like they're floating apart from each other in space. Though, knowing what these two people come from, floating apart from each other in space sounds something exactly like what they would do. Don't want to erase too much. Keep forgetting I did not draw over the nose. This is a digital drawing, Emmet? I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. Emmet faculty. This is a digital drawing. It's on the SketchClub app for the iPad. I am using an Apple Pencil as the stylus. Works basically about the same as a pen on paper. Didn't even notice anyone new joined, so hi, welcome to the stream. If you have any questions, comments, anything, I'm open. All ears, really. That's where the mouth should be. It was down a little too far. Okay. I think I can finally clear my sketch of a sketch. Alright. I think I'm just adding the finishing details on the sketch, make sure everything looks okay before I decide to ink it. No matter how many sketches it'll take, I want to make sure it looks good. Make sure we had light shine in there. And once again, I'm sorry for spastic zooming in and out. It's just the way I've always kind of drawn. Do I like draw a whole bunch of pictures? Kind of. I have actually some of my animation things still here. I can actually go bring them up. Say for this, for example, ignore the gaudy green background, that's so that I can key that out later. But like with this, it's more or less just a bunch of sketches, one on top of the other. There we go. As you can see. So I do draw a whole bunch of pictures. It really depends how involved the animation is. I am a frame-by-frame animator just because I don't have Flash, I don't have Toon Boom or anything like that. So I'm stuck drawing everything hand by hand, but I'm gonna use shortcuts where applicable. Another one that's probably a better example of this. Oh no, I hope I did not delete it. Oh no, I still have him here. Oh, thank goodness. Probably something like this is... Flash and Toon Boom allowed you to, like, import shapes, character files, and stuff like that, and then, like, attach, like, points of your character to, like, a stick figure that you can then move around and it animates it for you. I don't know if you've seen like really old Flash on Newgrounds at any point, but that's kind of why like people's arms tend to move like noodles sometimes if you don't attach the points in correct spots. It theoretically makes the animation process a little bit easier so you don't have to keep drawing people over and over again. But there's a huge learning curve with it as well too, and I just don't have the time to go through that, so I just do frame by frame. Yeah, see, I'd rather go frame by frame too, honestly. Um, it's just the way I'm used to from all the times I've ever animated in my life, and I don't think I have the time to learn Flash, especially not Flash and Toon Boom. But people who do use it and are good at it, they really make it work for them. Are you thinking about getting into animation too then, Emmett? Oh, nice, to try and make a comic. That's not easy work. Is the comic going to be purely digital? Are you planning on having it published? Purely paper. Wow. That's a difficult one. I don't know if I would have the patience to do something like that all on paper. That's a hard one to do, but I'm sure you can do it. You seem like a capable fellow. Hmm. You've caught me at the time and almost all of my drawings where I'm like, how did the eyes end up doing that even though I drew in guidelines? uh, Oh yeah, the art of writing is really interesting. Um, if you don't feel like drawing every single panel out, you can always do maybe more of like a visual novel type thing where there's like maybe one picture per one page of writing. You get to have both your art and your writing in there, and I think it's a nice happy medium. What I look forward to do with drawing, I actually do have a comic in the works. I haven't updated it in, I think, over a year. It's on my DeviantArt. It's Unified Friends Oath, and it's just about aliens trying to invade Earth, and that's where these two people actually come from. The red one here is Hemera, and this one is Daleth. Like I said, I haven't updated it in over a year, and I've been meaning to get back to it. Other than that, I do animate sometimes, actually. Um, when the when the fancy strikes me, I guess. But overall, really everything just is more of a hobby. I'm not a professionally trained artist, and I have not been to art college for any reason like that. So it's just a hobby I do, something I like to just practice on and relieve stress. Clothing folds are so hard. I should finish it at some point. There is an ending planned out. However, it's kind of a way away right now, but there is an ending. I was actually just about ready to start making more chapters. I think the issue is, and I have it saved right here, is the dialogue for this part is really, really bad, and then I forgot to draw in these chains that this alien wolf dude is breaking out of. And I already had like the inking process done and everything, so I have to go back and change a bunch of shading layers, and I have not been looking forward to it. So it's just me being lazy, nothing other than that. I just need to jump right back into it. That's kind of what these art streams were for as well too. Just jumping back into doing art every day, making sure I set time aside to do that. Not that I'd stream every day, but you know. What comic were you thinking of making actually? Did you have an idea for it already? Couple pages planned out? I'm not sure if most of the best artists are independently trained, but I do know a couple of my favorite artists are definitely independently trained. Like the horror manga author Junji Ito. He's actually a dentist by trade, and he draws some of the most fantastically horrific things I've ever seen. I think I might well be done with this sketch, honestly. Inking, that's the next thing. thinking the technical pen. There we go. There we go. What would you say the difference between your favorite artist and best artist is? I don't even know if I can compare the two. Because, like, the best artist is, like, the classical, like, Da Vinci and, like, Leonardo. I already said Da Vinci. It's getting late, I guess. They're so different stylistically, I don't know if I'd be able to compare them, but I guess maybe just tools of the trade. Similar things between the two is both, like, all great artists that I know of take a really, really long time with their artwork. They make sure every detail is perfect, and that's something I strive for as well, too. Oh, cool. Actually, that sounds like a really neat basis for a comic idea right there. Create a world where anything can happen. That'd be nice. That opens the doors to a lot of things as well too, so that also creates its own conflict. That's nice. That has a lot of potential. Both for heroes and villains, so that would be an interesting one to see. I'm sorry if it sounds as if my computer's taking off into orbit. I'm not sure if it's being picked up on the microphone, but I have it currently plugged in, so. Drew that line wrong. Ah, the bane of my existence, drawing circles without a circle tool. There we go. When did I first start drawing? I know it's a little cliche, but I've kind of always been drawing. When I really got serious into, like, cartoon style drawing, was actually end of elementary school, heading into middle school. One of my best friends from elementary school, he drew a lot of cartoons, and yes, it was anime, but I thought they were the coolest thing in the entire world, so I ditched trying to draw realistic, and I was like, I just want to draw cartoons all day, every day. And he taught me basically everything he knew. So I've kind of been drawing since then. I was really into drawing in high school, and I actually thought I would have went to art school at some point, but art was not the only career path that interested me, so I did not choose it. And then in early college, I kind of dropped off, fell off the wagon a little bit, just because I was busy. Nice, yeah. Drawers for life. Once you start drawing, you never ever fully stop drawing. So tools of the trade for your coloring then, if you do color, do you use pencil, marker? Because marker's a really hard one to draw in. And color, I guess. Well, but black and white's nice too. A lot of people do use coloring, but it's really nice to see just like good stark shading in black and white as well too. Very stylized. I like it. And only with pencil as well too. Pencil's good. Pencil I feel like you can blend better than with marker. I honestly don't know how some people color in marker and make it look good. Passion makes perfect. I've never heard it like that before, but yes, you are correct. Passion makes perfect. Okay, those look about even. I don't think I've got to ask you yet, but who are some of your inspiring artists as well, too? Masashi Kishimoto is, he's definitely got like style down to a T and just a nice open world to like just sit back and see how like stories can develop out of that. So that's good. Yeah, he's a good inspiration, and Penn Ward as well too. That's another nice open world one as well too. Yeah, they're really good. I don't think you could get much more different in terms of like style difference, but yeah, both of those are good people to look up to. So is there a style of drawing you like most? Do you tend more towards anime, more towards cartoony styles then? Yes, exactly. There's always feeling behind art, and if you don't have that feeling behind it, it's just like I hesitate to say the word soulless, but you know, you need something behind it, something driving that passion. Okay. Well, at least you agree. Ah, let your own style take flight. Yes, I think that's good. Because I know so many people who just say, like, I want to draw Adventure Time style. And while that's a good thing to strive for, I feel like you have to kind of make it your own at some point. So, yeah. Just, you know what? Experimentation is key. Just keep trying new things with your art, and you're going to find something that you're like, yes, I really like how that looks. I'd love to give you more tips and tricks, but unfortunately, I'm always been a person in between styles, I feel like, so I don't know if I'm the best person to give advice on the matter. Forgive me for janky fingernails. Only really recently did I start adding fingernails to my drawings, as weird as that sounds. But they've always just kind of looked weird when I draw them on fingers, so I've kind of been avoiding it. I did not know that about Bruce Lee. Oh, cool. So he was the one who started MMA. But yeah, you're totally right. You gotta experience everything before you can really hammer down what it is you want and form all of those experiences into one thing. Yeah, you definitely know what you're doing, I can tell you that much. uh, if you were looking for a sign to start, take that as a sign. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, there's some sketches that are like that, where for me it's I think mostly um like mythical creature sketches where people make them all fluffy and like warm and comforting, and I don't know, just like seeing floating mountains in the background and stuff like that. It just feels like you can go on an adventure. Like the kind of feeling you get from picking up like a new book, like Lord of the Rings or The Hobbit, and you're just like, yeah, adventure. I always like those sketches. Yeah, I feel like I get it. uh, I've never heard someone explain it in that way, but yeah, that's, I guess, the best words to put to that feeling. Warm and fuzzy inside. Yeah. There are songs like that too, where you just feel it and you're like, this song speaks to my soul. Maybe a little bit. This is just perfectly ordinary, normal human eyeballs. Because she is a perfectly ordinary human being. But I guess it kind of goes back to what you were talking about before, different inspirations. I always did like in Naruto how like people had different like pupils and different powers that go with different pupils, like you're talking about, and I think it's something that just kind of stuck with me. So consciously or not consciously, I've been doing that. It's hard to say. It's been a while. Feels like a while at least. I sounds really cheesy, but I do like how the whole character arc that Naruto goes through. Because at the beginning, I actually kind of found him a little insufferable. Not gonna lie, but he really matured throughout the series, and that takes a special kind of author who can make a character grow. And from someone who I was like, oh gosh, this character is annoying, to oh wow, this guy's actually pretty cool. So what was your favorite part about Naruto? Yeah, and it's so long too. It's like he must have like some personal experience being a child who was like bullied and stuff like that, and might have acted out a little bit. It's like how Pokemon was created because a guy remembered catching bugs in the forest by his home and was like, I want to make a game out of that. And now it's one of the most prolific series in the world. Yeah, I learned that not too long ago either, so it's both a new and fresh fact for both of us, I guess. Yeah, like all the characters are like really in depth. You can find basically something to like in almost every single character, and that's something special. That's something really hard to pull off. Hmm. Favorite anime? Whew. I think mine has and probably will be for the foreseeable future One Piece. It is a long haul, but I really do like it. Kind of like with Naruto, the characters kind of grow and change throughout the entire course of the story. It's really it's been so long. I can't even believe it's been over 10 years I think since that thing started going. But all the characters are still likable to this day. Um And My Hero Academia, actually, I'm liking a lot as well, too. It's very similar to Naruto, and I know the author of that manga was inspired by Masashi Kishimoto as well, too, so... One Piece isn't even over yet. There's still time. As far as movies go, I like How to Train Your Dragon, as far as just like base movies. It's a good movie I come back to whenever I'm like depressed and just want something to watch. But Secret of Kells. Secret of Kells is just glorious to look at. It's so experimental in everything they do. And there's this scene where this kid fights a snake monster with a piece of chalk in an illuminated manuscript, and it's just every bit trippy as it sounds. I would recommend it. I would recommend it. Secret of Kells is it's a trip. It's a trip. It's really cool to look at. What are some of your favorite movies? Oh, Moana is so pretty. Oh my gosh, that ocean. It's a good movie. I really enjoyed Moana as well too. Not gonna lie, the ocean and the tattoo were probably the two best characters in that movie, and I loved every single minute they were on screen. Oh, holy cow, it's 11:30 here. Oh boy. Oh, I did not realize I was on that long. Yes, these are two of my original characters. This person is Hemera, and she is Daleth. I think I spelled that wrong. It's been a little while. These two characters are from a comic I've been drawing called Unified Friends Oath, and it's just a comic where aliens try and invade the world, and a bunch of people who have basically superpowers because aliens were running experiments on them have to try and stop them. So that's what's going on with these two. One's a little apathetic person, and the other person's a little ray of positivity. I haven't updated the comic in over a year, and I have been meaning to get back to it. Well, when this stream is done, I'll probably post a link to at least the first page in the description. It's pretty bad, FYI, because I didn't start off doing digital drawing with it. I started off drawing it on paper. And yeah, so the first ones are a little hard to sit through stylistically. And feel free, if any time you do come back to one of these streams, if you have like a link to whatever whatever art that you have posted online or wherever, feel free to link it down below. I'm sure anybody reading the chat would love to see it as well too. We're all artists here. We all love to see that kind of stuff. Alright, well, not quite done with the inking process right now. However, I think it's about time to end the stream, because people around here are going to start to go to bed soon, and I don't want to accidentally wake anybody up by me talking to my computer, so I think I'll end it here. Thank you so much for joining. I honestly didn't think anybody would show up for this first stream, so it's quite wonderful that two people who are eager to chat in the chat decided to show up. So thank you both very, very, very much. Oh, thank you. You didn't have to do that, but hopefully sometime soon I can do some more streaming and we can all just hang out and talk again. So thank you so much. Okay? You guys have a nice night. Bye.